Across the vast landscape of China lie ancient structures that seem almost impossible for their time. Massive stones carved with astonishing precision, cities cut directly into cliffs, temples suspended above deadly drops, underground chambers with no clear record of who built them. How did ancient builders achieve this without modern machines? Today, we uncover China's most unbelievable engineering mysteries. One, Terracotta Army and Mausoleum of Qin Shi Huang, Xi'an, Shanxi. Buried beneath the fields outside Xi'an lies an underground army so vast that its discovery changed what the world knew about ancient China. More than 8,000 life-size soldiers, along with horses, chariots, officials, and performers, were created to guard China's first emperor in the afterlife. Yet the warriors are only the outer layer of something much larger. At the center of the necropolis rises the sealed burial mound of Qin Shi Huang, untouched for more than 2,000 years. Ancient accounts describe a miniature empire inside, complete with celestial ceilings and rivers represented by Mercury. Hundreds of thousands of workers reportedly helped construct this enormous funerary complex. Even today, archaeologists proceed cautiously around the unopened tomb. The Terracotta Army is extraordinary, but the greatest mystery may still be buried beneath the mound beside it. Two, the Great Wall of China, northern China. From the air, it looks like a stone serpent stretching beyond the horizon, climbing mountains, crossing valleys, and disappearing into some of China's harshest landscapes. The Great Wall is not one continuous structure, but a vast defensive network, built and rebuilt over many centuries. Some sections rise along ridgelines so steep that simply carrying construction materials upward would have been an exhausting task. Stone, brick, earth, and timber were transported through terrain where modern vehicles would struggle to operate. Watchtowers were positioned for observation and communication, allowing warning signals to travel across enormous distances. During the Ming Dynasty, many sections were strengthened into the monumental fortifications seen today. What makes the Great Wall astonishing is not only its scale, but where it was built. Ancient builders did not avoid impossible terrain. They turned mountains themselves into part of the defense. 3. Longyou Caves, Zhejiang. For generations, villagers in Zhejiang knew of several deep ponds that seemed to have no bottom. Then, in 1992, one was drained. As the water disappeared, stone steps emerged, revealing something no one expected: a gigantic man-made chamber carved directly into solid rock. Further exploration exposed a network now known as the Longyou Caves. Inside, enormous rooms feature flat floors, massive supporting pillars, carefully angled ceilings, and remarkably consistent chisel patterns covering the walls. The scale creates an obvious question. Where did all the excavated stone go? No clear historical record has been found describing who ordered such an enormous project, how the chambers were illuminated during construction, or exactly what they were designed for. The deeper researchers looked, the stranger the sight became. Longyou is not simply an ancient cave complex. It is an engineering project whose full story appears to have vanished. Four, Hanging Temple of Hengshan, Shanxi. At first glance, the Hanging Temple appears to be floating against a sheer cliff. Built high above the valley floor near Mount Hengshan, its wooden halls seem far too fragile to have survived centuries of wind, rain, and changing seasons. But the illusion hides a sophisticated structural system. Wooden beams were inserted into openings cut directly into the rock, while concealed supports transferred much of the building's weight back into the mountain. Vertical posts visible beneath parts of the temple are not the only elements keeping it in place. Its location also offered practical advantages. The cliff protected the complex from flooding, reduced exposure to weather, and isolated the temple from the noise of the valley below. Walkways connect rooms suspended above open space, making every step feel unusually exposed. The remarkable part is not simply that people worshipped here. It is that ancient builders made a cliff behave like a foundation. Five, Forbidden City, Beijing. Behind the enormous red walls of central Beijing lies a city built for emperors, yet its true complexity becomes visible only when you understand how carefully everything was organized. The Forbidden City contains vast courtyards, monumental halls, ceremonial gates, residences, and thousands of architectural details arranged along a strict imperial axis. Construction began in the early 15th century, requiring materials and skilled labor from across the empire. Massive wooden columns supported sweeping roofs, while interlocking timber joints allowed major buildings to flex rather than behave like rigid stone structures. Even the layout carried meaning. Gates, platforms, colors, roof forms, and courtyard dimensions reflected hierarchy, cosmology, and political authority. For centuries, access to its inner world was tightly controlled. What visitors see today is not simply an old palace. It is a precisely engineered imperial machine, designed to turn architecture itself into a visible expression of power. Six, Yangshan Quarry and unfinished Stele, Nanjing, Jiangsu. Outside Nanjing stands one of China's most dramatic reminders of ancient ambition. Enormous sections of stone cut from Yangshan Mountain for a monument that was never completed. During the Ming Dynasty, workers began preparing gigantic stone components intended for a monumental stele associated with the Imperial Mausoleum project. The scale was extraordinary. Instead of carving manageable blocks, builders attempted to separate pieces so enormous that transporting them from the quarry became an overwhelming challenge. Today, the unfinished components remain locked into the mountainside, exposing deep cuts, straight surfaces, and the staggering size of the original plan. Standing beside them changes the question completely. It is no longer simply, how were they carved? It becomes, how were they ever supposed to be moved? Yangshan is fascinating precisely because the project stopped. What remains is an ancient engineering ambition frozen at the moment reality finally pushed back. Seven, Longmen Grottoes, Luoyang, Henan. Along the cliffs beside the Yi River, thousands of openings transform the limestone walls into one of the greatest carved landscapes in China. The Longmen Grottoes contain an immense collection of Buddhist caves, inscriptions, reliefs, and statues created over several dynasties. Some figures are tiny enough to fit inside a small niche. Others rise monumentally above visitors, including the famous Vairocana Buddha in Hengshan Temple. What makes the site remarkable is the sheer density of work. Artists did not simply place sculptures against the mountain. They removed the mountain itself, cutting chambers, faces, robes, guardians, lotus patterns, and architectural details directly from the cliff. Generation after generation continued the project, turning stone into a record of changing artistic and religious traditions. From across the river, the cliff looks perforated by human hands. Up close, Longmen reveals something even more astonishing, an entire sacred world created by carving inward. Leshan Giant Buddha, Sichuan. At the meeting point of three rivers in Sichuan, a colossal Buddha appears to rise directly from the mountain itself. Carved into a red sandstone cliff, the Leshan Giant Buddha reaches more than 70 meters in height, making the human figures at its feet look almost insignificant. Construction began during the Tang dynasty, when a monk reportedly hoped the statue would calm dangerous river currents that threatened passing boats. Creating it required decades of excavation, carving, drainage planning, and structural understanding. Even the statue's hair, ears, shoulders, and robes were shaped as part of a system designed to shed water and slow erosion. Hidden drainage channels helped protect the enormous figure from centuries of rain. The result is more than a sculpture. It is architecture, geology, religion, and engineering fused into one cliff. The mountain was not used as a backdrop. Ancient builders transformed the mountain itself into the monument. Yungang Grottoes, Datong, Shanxi. Near Datong, a long wall of sandstone contains hundreds of caves and tens of thousands of Buddhist figures carved directly into the mountain. The Yungang Grottoes were created during the Northern Wei period, when rulers used monumental religious art to express both spiritual belief and imperial power. Some statues are small enough to fit inside shallow niches. Others tower over entire chambers, surrounded by carved guardians, celestial musicians, decorative patterns, and architectural details that seem almost impossible to produce with ancient tools. The scale becomes even more impressive when you realize that each cave required workers to remove solid rock before the artwork could even begin. Different styles within the complex reveal influences traveling into China along ancient trade routes. Yungang is therefore more than a collection of sculptures. It is a frozen record of cultural exchange. The cliff itself became a canvas, and ancient craftsmen spent generations turning stone into an entire sacred universe. Yingxian Wooden Pagoda, Shanxi. Rising above Yingxian is a structure that seems far too delicate to have survived nearly 1,000 years. The Yingxian Wooden Pagoda is a towering timber building constructed without the modern steel frame that visitors might expect inside something of this scale. Its strength comes from an intricate system of wooden columns, beams, brackets, and interlocking joints that distribute weight throughout the structure. Instead of behaving like a rigid tower, the building can absorb movement through its flexible timber framework. That matters in a region that has experienced earthquakes, storms, warfare, and centuries of exposure. Layer after layer of complex wooden brackets supports the upper levels, creating both decoration and structural stability. What looks ornamental is actually part of the engineering. The pagoda has survived while countless younger structures disappeared around it. Its endurance reveals an important truth about ancient Chinese construction. Sometimes the strongest building is not the one that refuses to move, but the one designed to move safely. Maijishan Grottoes, Gansu. From a distance, Maijishan looks like an ordinary, rocky mountain rising above the forest. Then, the cliff comes into view, and hundreds of caves appear across its nearly vertical face, connected by narrow walkways suspended high above the ground. These are the Maijishan Grottoes, a vast Buddhist complex carved into the mountain over many centuries. Inside the chambers are thousands of sculptures and murals, ranging from small, devotional figures to monumental statues overlooking the valley. But the real engineering challenge lies outside. Ancient workers had to carve chambers into unstable rock while constructing access routes along a cliff where a single mistake could have been fatal. Today, reconstructed walkways allow visitors to move between the caves, but the exposed height still creates a powerful sense of danger. Maijishan combines art with an impossible location. The sculptures are extraordinary, but the deeper question is simpler. How did ancient builders even reach some of these places safely enough to carve them? The Grand Canal of China. Long before railways or modern highways crossed China, An enormous artificial waterway was already moving people, grain, and goods across vast distances. The Grand Canal connected major river systems and helped link northern political centers with the fertile south. Its construction unfolded over centuries, with different dynasties extending, widening, and improving the route. Engineers had to manage changing elevations, shifting currents, sediment, and seasonal flooding, while keeping boats moving through heavily populated regions. Locks, embankments, channels, and reservoirs turned separate waterways into a functioning transportation network on an almost continental scale. The canal did more than move cargo. It helped feed capitals, strengthen imperial control, and connect economies that might otherwise have remained divided. What makes it extraordinary is its age and ambition. Ancient builders were not simply digging a ditch. They were redesigning the geography of China so that an empire could move through water. (17) Zhaozhou Bridge, Hebei. At first glance, Zhaozhou Bridge may seem simple compared with China's giant walls and mountain temples, but its real brilliance is hidden in the shape of its stone arch. Built during the Sui dynasty, the bridge used an unusually shallow segmental arch rather than a heavy, semicircular form. Smaller openings were added above the main span, reducing weight while also allowing floodwater to pass through more efficiently. That combination made the structure lighter, stronger, and more resistant to the powerful currents below. For its time, the design was remarkably sophisticated. The bridge had to survive not only constant traffic, but also floods, weather, and centuries of structural stress. Yet much of the original form endured. Its achievement is easy to miss because the engineering looks so clean. Zhaozhou Bridge proves that advanced construction is not always about size. Sometimes the greatest innovation is removing exactly the right amount of stone. Huashan Mystery Grottoes, Anhui. Beneath the hills of Anhui lies a network of enormous man-made caverns that raises a question almost immediately. Why would anyone remove so much rock and leave so little explanation behind? The Huashan Mystery Grottoes contain large chambers, stone pillars, carved walls, pools, and passageways cut deep into the mountain. Some spaces are so broad that creating them would have required a highly organized workforce and years of sustained excavation. Yet no detailed historical record clearly explains who ordered the work or what the chambers were meant to become. Even more intriguing is the missing material. A project of this scale should have produced enormous piles of excavated stone, but the surrounding landscape offers no simple answer for where all of it went. The caves are impressive because they exist. They are mysterious because their story does not. Huashan feels like the remains of an ancient project whose purpose disappeared while the engineering survived. Potala Palace, Lhasa, Tibet. Rising above Lhasa, the Potala Palace looks less like a building and more like an entire mountain transformed into architecture. Its massive white and red walls climb across Mapo Ri, dominating the valley from an altitude where construction itself becomes more difficult. The complex contains halls, chapels, stairways, courtyards, residences, and ceremonial spaces layered across the slope. Building at this elevation required enormous amounts of stone, timber, labor, and careful planning. Thick walls help stabilize the structure and protect its interiors from the harsh, high-altitude climate. Inside, narrow passages lead through a dense world of religious art, tombs, shrines, and chambers accumulated over centuries. The visual scale is almost overwhelming, but the real achievement is how completely the palace merges with the hill beneath it. Potala was not simply placed on a mountain. Its builders turned the mountain into the foundation of a vertical city. Fujian Tulou, Fujian. Across the mountains of Fujian stand enormous earthen buildings that look like ancient fortresses from above. Some are circular, others square, but each was designed to shelter entire communities behind thick defensive walls. Known as Tulou, these structures were built from compacted earth mixed with materials such as sand, stone, and timber. The exterior walls could be remarkably thick, helping resist weather, fire, and attack, while the interior opened into multi-level wooden galleries facing a shared courtyard. Families lived together inside, with storage, kitchens, wells, worship spaces, and living quarters arranged as one self-contained system. Their form was both social and defensive. Instead of protecting a single household, one structure could protect an entire clan. What makes the Tulou advanced is not one complicated machine or hidden mechanism. It is the way architecture solved security, community, climate, and daily life at the same time, using little more than earth, wood, and geometry. Jiaohe Ancient City, Xinjiang. In the deserts of Xinjiang, a ruined city stands on a high natural plateau between two river valleys. From a distance, Jiaohe looks almost fused with the earth because much of the settlement was not built upward from separate bricks. It was carved and shaped directly from the compacted ground. Roads, homes, temples, administrative spaces, and defensive areas followed the narrow form of the plateau, while steep cliffs provided natural protection on both sides. For centuries, Jiaohe served as an important center along routes connected to the Silk Road. Its position was strategic, but the engineering was equally practical. Builders used the dry climate and existing terrain to create a city that required relatively little conventional masonry. Eventually, the settlement was abandoned, leaving empty streets and roofless structures exposed to the desert. Jiaohe feels like a city that was excavated from the land itself. And centuries later, the land is still holding its shape. Gaochang Ancient City, Xinjiang. Beyond the desert near Turpan lie the remains of Gaochang, once a major fortified city on the ancient Silk Road. Today, its walls and ruined structures rise from an almost lifeless landscape. But centuries ago, this was a busy center of trade, religion, and political power. The city was surrounded by massive earthen defenses and divided into organized districts containing temples, residences, administrative buildings, and ceremonial spaces. Constructing a large settlement here required adaptation to extreme heat, scarce water, and an environment where agriculture depended on careful management. Its position allowed merchants and travelers to move between Central Asia and China, bringing languages, beliefs, goods, and architectural ideas into the city. Over time, Gaochang declined and was eventually abandoned. What remains is a skeleton of walls under the desert sun. Yet those ruins still reveal something extraordinary. Ancient builders created a functioning urban center in a place where survival itself demanded engineering. Lingqu Canal, Guangxi. More than 2,000 years ago, Chinese engineers faced a geographical problem that seemed simple on a map, but extremely difficult on the ground. How do you connect two river systems flowing in different directions? Their solution was the Lingqu Canal, constructed during the Qin dynasty to link the Xi'an and Li rivers. Instead of relying on brute force, the system used carefully controlled channels, diversion works, embankments, and water distribution structures to redirect flow across a natural watershed. This allowed boats, supplies, and soldiers to travel between regions that had previously been separated by terrain. The canal later became part of a larger transportation network connecting central and southern China. What makes Lingqu remarkable is how quietly intelligent the design feels. There is no enormous palace or towering monument here. The achievement lies in understanding water itself and convincing two river systems to behave as though they had always belonged together. Ancient building complex of Wudang Mountains, Hubei. High in the Wudang Mountains, temples, palaces, gates, and monasteries appear between steep ridges and mist-covered forests, creating the impression that an entire sacred world was engineered into the landscape. These structures, developed over centuries as Wudang, became one of China's most important centers of Taoism. Builders had to work with difficult slopes rather than flatten them, positioning halls and pathways according to the mountain's natural form and religious principles. Stone terraces support wooden buildings, stairways climb between cliffs, and ceremonial routes lead toward increasingly isolated sacred spaces. Among the most striking structures is the Golden Hall, perched near the summit and constructed with metal components that have endured severe mountain weather. The architecture was designed to feel inseparable from nature. That is what makes Wudang so impressive. Ancient builders did not conquer the mountain by reshaping it. They created an entire religious complex by allowing the mountain to dictate where architecture could exist. Zhaozhou rock carvings. Chongqing. Across the hills of Chongqing, entire cliff faces were transformed into vast collections of Buddhist, Taoist, and Confucian imagery. Known as the Zhaozhou rock carvings, these sites contain thousands of figures cut directly into stone over several centuries. Some scenes are monumental, while others are packed with tiny details showing religious teachings, everyday life, morality, and stories of the afterlife. The challenge was not simply artistic. Craftsmen had to plan large compositions across uneven rock surfaces, remove enormous amounts of material, and protect delicate details from weathering. Certain caves and niches were shaped so that statues, reliefs, and architectural elements appear to emerge naturally from the mountain. The result feels almost like a stone manuscript that can be walked through. Zhaozhou is powerful because it combines engineering and storytelling. Instead of writing ideas on paper, ancient craftsmen preserved entire belief systems inside cliffs, turning geology into one of China's most extraordinary visual archives. Xi'an Ancient City Wall, Shanxi. Encircling the historic center of Xi'an is one of the most complete ancient defensive walls in China, a massive fortification designed not only to stop enemies, but to control movement into an imperial city. The wall was strengthened during the Ming dynasty, built with thick layers of compacted earth and later faced with brick. Its broad top allowed soldiers, horses, and equipment to move rapidly around the perimeter, while gates, towers, battlements, and defensive structures created multiple layers of protection. Moats and controlled entrances made direct attack even more difficult. What makes the wall impressive today is its continuity. Rather than surviving as isolated fragments, long stretches still form a recognizable defensive system around the old city. From above, the structure reveals how carefully ancient urban defense was planned. Xi'an was not simply protected by walls. The entire city was organized around them, making fortification part of the city's architecture, transportation, and political control. Nanjing City Wall, Jiangsu. Unlike many ancient city walls built in simple geometric shapes, Nanjing's defenses followed the natural terrain, wrapping around hills, rivers, and strategic high ground. Constructed during the early Ming dynasty, the wall became one of the largest urban fortification systems of its time. Massive bricks were produced across different regions, transported to Nanjing, and assembled into thick defensive sections designed to withstand both siege weapons and centuries of weather. Some bricks even carried inscriptions identifying where they were made, creating an early form of construction accountability. The wall's irregular route was not a mistake. It allowed engineers to incorporate natural obstacles directly into the defense system instead of fighting against the landscape. That made the city harder to attack and reduced unnecessary construction. Nanjing's wall demonstrates a sophisticated idea that appears repeatedly in ancient Chinese engineering. The strongest structure is often the one that understands the terrain before trying to control it. Ming Shaoling Mausoleum, Nanjing, Jiangsu. At the foot of Purple Mountain lies the tomb complex of the Hongwu Emperor, founder of the Ming dynasty. But Ming Shaoling is far more than a single burial chamber. The entire landscape was designed as part of the monument. Visitors approach along the famous Spirit Way, passing stone animals, officials, gates, bridges, and ceremonial spaces arranged to create a gradual transition from the human world toward the imperial tomb. Mountains, water, orientation, and architecture were integrated according to traditional concepts of geomancy and royal authority. The enormous burial mound itself remains largely sealed, preserving much of its internal structure from direct exploration. That mystery gives the site a powerful final layer. Ming Shaoling influenced later imperial tomb design for generations. Its builders were not simply constructing a place for the dead. They were engineering an entire landscape around one idea. Even after death, an emperor's power should continue to shape the world around him. Ming Tombs, Beijing. North of Beijing, a broad valley surrounded by mountains became the final resting place of 13 emperors of the Ming dynasty. The location was chosen carefully. Natural ridges formed a protective barrier, while roads, gates, stone statues, ceremonial halls, and burial mounds were arranged to follow principles of imperial ritual and geomancy. Rather than building 13 isolated tombs, the designers created a vast funerary landscape connected through a shared ceremonial system. The sacred way leads visitors past monumental stone animals and officials, each positioned as symbolic guardians of the imperial dead. Several tombs contain underground chambers, constructed from enormous stone blocks and carefully engineered corridors. Only a small portion of the entire complex has been extensively explored. That leaves much of the valley still carrying an atmosphere of secrecy. The Ming Tombs are impressive not because of one structure. They reveal how an entire mountain valley was transformed into architecture for an imperial dynasty. Temple of Heaven, Beijing. At the Temple of Heaven, almost nothing was left to accidental design. Shapes, numbers, colors, orientation, and proportions were all used to express an ancient vision of the relationship between earth, heaven, and imperial authority. The most famous structure, the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvests, rises in a perfectly balanced circular form above a series of stone terraces. Its wooden framework was assembled through an intricate system of columns, beams, and interlocking joints rather than a modern steel skeleton. The circular design symbolized heaven, while square elements elsewhere represented earth. Even the arrangement of steps and paving stones followed symbolic numerical patterns. This was architecture built to communicate an entire cosmology. Emperors came here to perform rituals believed essential to the stability and prosperity of the empire. The Temple of Heaven therefore operated on two levels at once. It was a physical structure and a carefully engineered model of how ancient China believed the universe itself was organized. Three pagodas of Chongsheng Temple, Dali, Yunnan. Against the mountains near Dali, three ancient towers rise with a symmetry that seems almost too precise for structures that have survived for more than 1,000 years. The tallest stands in the center, flanked by two smaller pagodas that create one of the most recognizable silhouettes in southwestern China. Built during the Nanzhao and Dali kingdom periods, the pagodas were designed not only as religious monuments, but also as structures capable of enduring a region known for seismic activity. Their masonry construction, tapered profiles, and carefully balanced proportions helped them survive earthquakes that damaged many surrounding buildings. That endurance is what makes the site so remarkable. The towers are elegant, but their real story is structural survival. For centuries, the mountains shook, dynasties disappeared, and entire communities changed around them. Yet the pagodas remain standing, silent evidence that ancient builders understood far more about balance and stability than their simple stone forms suggest.